The Armentrout Towing Old Dixie Towing guy facing a criminal reckless driving charge for driving menacingly through a Staunton political protest rally on April 5th got himself on the radar of the Staunton Police Department last fall for something else. Now, I'll quote here from an email from Staunton Police Department Captain Chad Kaufman dated November 20th, 2024, so just about, 5 months ago. Here's the quote. Since being removed from the tow rotation list, Armentrout has been showing up on scenes and offering to take a vehicle prior to us asking for next on rotation. He tried it again this morning. Please make sure your officers know to use the rotation list and not allow him to do this unless he is requested by the vehicle owner. So this whole episode has made me learn a lot about how police deal with situations where cars need to be towed for the various reasons. Um, Now, we obtained a copy of the email through a Freedom of Information Act request, which also netted us a copy of another email dated October 7, 2024, from Staunton Police Department Lieutenant Jason F. McNeil to department's officers and dispatch staff, announcing that the towing company, owned by Jeffrey Wayne Armentrout, the man charged in this month's protest rally incident, saying he was no longer on the tow rotation list. Quote, as of today, Armentrout and Old Dixie Towing are no longer going to be on our list. If someone requests them, then they can still be called. If an Armentrout or Old Dixie tow truck shows up to tow under any other business names, please let me know immediately. So, those are a couple emails. October 7th is when this company was taken off the tow rotation list. We don't know why. No reason was given in that email. I've gotten nothing from the city or the police department indicating why Armentrout was his two tow companies were taken off the list. Now, we did get a copy of a 2023 document from the police department spelling out the policy on calling towing companies to the scene of things like accidents, DUIs, emergencies, vehicle abandonments, and related scenes. When possible, per the policy, the driver or owner of a vehicle that needs to be moved can specify a towing company. So if you do that, all bets are off. But in cases where the driver or owner isn't available to state a preference, maybe in an accident situation where people have been injured, taken to a hospital, or just doesn't state a preference. Officers at the scene are directed to ask the police dispatcher to send a truck from the rotation list. And I guess the way that works is there's several tow companies on the list. And okay, the last one called goes back to the back of the line, etc. It's a list, it's a rotation list. Among the qualifications listed in the document, tow companies, quote, must have a current operating license, and each driver must have a current driver authorization document issued by the Virginia Board of Towing and Recovery Operators. Another qualification, be reasonably available. Another, be available to release vehicles 7 days a week. And also, they must charge rates that are, quote, reasonable, necessary cost. A review of the Virginia General District Court online case information system gives us some hints towards issues involving Armentrout that could have led to the October 7 decision by Staunton PD to remove his company from the rotation list. Again, we don't know for sure because the PD hasn't shared that reason. 3 months to the day from that October 7th email informing police and dispatchers that Armentrout was no longer on the towing list, it was January 7th, 2025. So 3 months later, Armentrout was charged with an offense of Virginia Code Section 46.2-116, a prohibition on operating a tow truck without registration with the Virginia Department of Criminal Justice Services. Can't do that. You gotta have the authorization, right? You gotta have the registration. There were also additional charges on January 7th of operating a vehicle without a license and operating an uninsured vehicle. So, okay, those charges were all ultimately dismissed, but Armentrout was assessed court fees in the final disposition of that case, which the online case information system website lists as of this writing being past due. So, even though the charges were dismissed, there were court costs involved. So that tells you that it was dismissed, but it wasn't dismissed um, because there were no findings. I guess this sounds like a plea agreement of some sort there. Issues with licensure were also raised in an online review of Armentrout's towing company dated June 16th, 2024. So this would have been 4 months before the police department cut ties in terms of the rotation list with Armentrout and Old Dixie Towing. The online review from June 16, 2024 claimed that the owner had a suspended license but is still driving around and towing vehicles. Other reviews listed indicate issues with the reasonable necessary costs passed on to customers. There were two reviews from people in 2023 where people who said that Armentrout was called to the scene of the accident by authorities, not their choice, and they had issues picking up their car in a reasonable manner, vehicle in a reasonable manner, and both were charged $1,570 for less than 24 hours of being on the lot. And these are just among, I mean, there were 10 reviews online, and two specifically mentioned this charge. So the reasonable cost could have been an issue as well. You've got the issues with licensure, with registration with the state. And we do know for sure that the city did eventually remove Armentrout and Old Dixie Towing from the list. And then about a month and a half later, Armentrout and Old Dixie Towing had been showing up to scenes of accidents uncalled. So Stanton Police had issues with Jeffrey Wayne Armentrout, and it'll be interesting to see how things go moving forward.